Hello, this is JTM94 here. My tag is Jesus. I am a Game & Watch main from Pittsburgh. I'm here with you today to be going over all of Game & Watch's moves that I can remember to name, and I will be talking about their uses, applications, and counterplays. Alright, so let's get right into it. This is not meant to be an intensive, all-covering guide. This is not meant to be some sort of perfect, complete guide for Game & Watch. This is just something that I wanted to do with my spare time because I've been wanting to create some content for a while, and my computer is not exactly cut out for editing together combo videos, so this is what I'm going to be offering to hopefully help out some people new to the character, maybe new to Project M, and people that might need some help against Game & Watch, think he's a BS character. Maybe I can offer some counterplays and some SDI, DI answers. Alright, the first portion of the guide is going to be me going over Game & Watch's grounded moves starting with jab. Game & Watch's jab is a very good move. It comes out frame 4. As you can see, I have debug mode already enabled. I can still pause. Jab is frame 4. Pretty good move. Very good at catching people coming into you or jumping at you with moves because it is disjointed, so it will beat out some things that are not sword moves or severely disjointed moves. Most moves that are not disjointed it will, however, beat. Pretty good. You can use it out of dash stance. You can be moving around, just turn around, jab, bait stuff. You can use it out of crouch. You can run up to people and crouch if you don't want to run up and down tilt. Down tilt is pretty good. I'll be getting to that, but it is 2 frames slower than jab, and jab can lead into a lot more things that down tilt cannot lead into, like grab, up tilt, or you can even jab into down tilt. So you can use it as a conversion, as another step into down tilt to tack on even more percent. In a recent version, Game & Watch was added a second jab. His first jab and jab 2 both look exactly the same. In the changelog it states that these moves have the exact same properties, percents, knockback values, etc. But this is not true. If I remember correctly, as what Magus stated was that the second jab will true combo into his smash attacks or other moves at percents greater than 100%. You can see the difference between the two jabs right now. So this is just jab 1. You can see that it doesn't have very high knockback. You could probably still crouch cancel it or ASDI down at this percent. But let's see jab 2. You can see that jab 2 has much more knockback. She is able to go far higher into the air. Sometimes the computer will do weird DIs or SDIs and then get pretty far in simple moves like jabs. But you can see how jab 2 has a lot more damage. So what this means is that normally in jab 1 it would be unsafe and your opponent would be able to jump, air dodge, whatever, because it's not a true combo into most things. You just catch their option out of it. So if you jab grab, most characters can escape that, double jump out of it, ASDI down to the shield, and then ASDI down into the ground, shield, spot dodge, or buffer roll, etc. But if you jab twice, the second jab has a chance of catching them out of their ASDI down, or maybe they try to do a move out of crouch cancel and the second jab catches them. And it also will true combo into smash attacks, unlike his jab 1. This is very important because this is something that provides an easy, convenient way to kill your opponent at higher percents, where the normal first jab would not combo. You can think of it like Fox's jab up smash, except instead of the first jab you'll use the second jab. Alright, so the next ground move that I'm going to be going over is his down tilt. Not his down tilt, his dash attack. I'm going to be doing the abnormal moves first, other than the directional ones. So his dash attack is a pretty good move, has a sizable hitbox. You can use it as an edge guarding tool depending on how disjointed the character's up B is that you're edge guarding. You can cause them to hit into the stage and then stage spike them. Alright, so what I'm going to demonstrate here is that it doesn't send directly up, but it sends a little bit in front of you. You can get hitboxes where it sends them behind, and those are the hitboxes that will stage spike them. So if they're right on the wall, if you're just through them, you can see that it'll send you behind. Just imagine that sending them into the stage, and then it could stage spike them and kill them pretty hard, as long as they don't tech it, of course. Dash attack is a pretty good move. As long as they do not DI it correctly, then you can get follow-ups off of it. It also depends on what part of it you hit. If you land the early part of dash attack, then there's not much you can do. As you can see, they've already hit the ground before you've managed to act. But if you hit them with the later part of it, then you can get things like back airs. If they DI'd into you, then you can get nairs. And as you can see, the computer is not DIing. I do not have an assistant with me. But if you were to DI that instead of away from a Game & Watch, if you're holding into him, then you'll go straight up into the air and it'll set up for easy nairs as long as you don't get hit by the very early part of dash attack. Dash attack is also good for a number of reasons because, one, he still has a gatling grab. He is one of the only characters that has a gatling grab along with Sonic, where you cancel the early hit of dash attack with grab. As you can see against the computer that does not DI or crouch cancel, this can be a true combo at low percents. At higher percents, it will start to hit the computer too far away to follow up. This is also useful on shield or against crouch cancel. If your opponent is crouch canceling, you can dash attack into grab. As long as you get the early enough hit of dash attack where you can cancel into a grab, then you are golden. If you get it on shield, then it is not a guaranteed follow-up on shield. The opponent can they can buffer options out of shield, like they can buffer roll, jump, or spot dodge, which might all beat it. I don't think jab beats it, because you still have to wait for the grab to come out after the dash attack. The shield stun is pretty good, like I said, but you can definitely buffer roll out of shield as long, so that would break it from being a true combo. Like I said, at low percents it works. Also against fast followers and bigger characters, they might not go far enough away in order to escape the grab follow-up. The other thing that Game & Watch can do is that he can do a gatling combo, where he can do dash attack, and instead of inputting the grab, you'll input an up smash. This will usually not work at low percents. It will start to work at medium percents, and then it'll start to hit the opponent too far at high percents. As you can see, at low percents, certain characters just won't go far enough. This is also completely weight fall speed dependent. Also, DI will affect whether this works or not. If you DI away from him, then you'll go further. If you DI in, then he'll go past you sometimes. Pretty good stuff. Alright, so let's get on to his tilts. One of his best moves is his down tilt. It has a ridiculous hitbox. It combos, it kills. It does pretty much everything. You can think of it as slightly lesser or greater depending on the matchup and its uses. You can compare it to Roy's old down tilt. It comes out on frame 6. It has pretty good IASA. You can put it out quite fast. Whenever it hits a grounded opponent, it will send them almost straight up into the air. Whenever it hits an aerial opponent, it will send them out at a not very steep angle, around 50 degrees or so, but it can be very good at the ledge. As you can see, the hitbox is quite big. The best way to space it at the ledge is not all the way into the ledge. As you can see, I'm not even covering the ledge right here. And not to be too far in, because then it won't even reach. You're going to be a little bit in. You can use debug mode, so that way you space it so the largest part of the circle is enveloping the ledge. This can prevent some characters from sweet spotting the ledge, but again, a lot of characters can still sweet spot through it, and it does require some timing. In some instances, you might be better off grabbing the ledge and then doing something off of the ledge in order to seal the edge guard. But nonetheless, down tilt is very good at the ledge. You can use down tilt to break crouch cancel at early percents. It'll break crouch cancel as early as 40 against some characters, as late as 60 against the heaviest of characters. I'm not reading these off of a table, so do not quote me on these, but they're in that ballpark. You can ASDI down into the ground and tech it. at any percent where it will break crouch cancel as long as you're holding down, then the ASDI will take you into the ground far enough in order to get the tech. You can also use it at low percents as a combo starter, depending on the DI. If you DI into him, then of course the follow-up is much easier. If you DI away, then some follow-ups might not be guaranteed. If you're a heavy character and you don't go very far at all, then you might be screwed for even later percents. And it might never stop working as a combo tool until it will kill. So let's move on to up tilt. Up tilt is pretty good. Up tilt you can think of as it will combo slightly later than down tilt. Well, down tilt will start sending too far. You can still get up tilt into things like up tilt into nair, up tilt on the forward air, back air, etc. Basically whatever you want to do. This can become a kill move. It will start to wear off as a combo move around 100 against normal characters. Against fast followers, it won't work at all at lower percents, but then at higher percents like this, it would start to lead in the guaranteed kill setups. You can DI it pretty far. If you can see, it doesn't send directly up, it sends a little bit behind him, and I believe the late hit sends it the opposite direction. And as you can see from higher parts and at really high percents, it will start to be a kill move. Up tilt is pretty good. It has pretty good IASA. And you can also use it at low percents with his other moves. You can jab into up tilt as long as the character is big enough and they don't STI the jab far enough. As you can see, Sheik's landing animation is really good, so it lets her escape it. You can use the second hit of jab that I talked about to go into it if you can get it against larger characters, but it seems like Computer Sheik does not want to cooperate. Up tilt is not incredibly strong, but it does send fairly straight up, so you can use it to break crouch cancel. I wouldn't recommend it though, because of the way that it doesn't quite reach the ground and it won't hit crouching opponents. On stages like FOD, it starts to become an incredible tool, especially under the platforms, because you can hit through the entire platforms with it. You can cover tech options, etc., and go into combos or kill conversions. Let's see. The next tilt we'll go into is forward tilt. Forward tilt is another move that is pretty good at the ledge. As you can see, it has pretty favorable hitboxes. Something to note with this move is that I have it in frame advance right now, and I am holding shield. One thing to note is that the IASA of this move allows Game & Watch to act the moment that the last hitbox disappears. So this means that no matter what you're doing, well, the only thing you can really buffer out of this is shield, but if you are forward tilting, the moment the hitboxes disappear, Game & Watch can act. A lot of people find this hard to punish because Game & Watch can act as soon as the hitboxes are gone. Most characters have attacks where the hitbox is there, then they're in lag, and then that's where the opponent would normally punish. But the way that you have to treat this move is that the entire move is a commitment. So say I'm doing this in Sheik's zone. Of course I'm controlling all of the space in front of me, so she can't run at me and punish me that way, but she can run up, power shield, grab. She can jump over it and then hit me out of it. Or she can try and bait my option out of it. So maybe I'm going to wave dash back or something. It can be hard to punish. Slower characters will have a hard time punishing this. This will be very useful in matchups where the characters have a hard time maneuvering around it. And it will be less useful in matchups where characters like Captain Falcon could punish you by jumping over it, stomp kneeing you. Regardless, it is a pretty good zoning tool. You can use it to control up space. You can move around with it. You can wave dash back and then try an F tilt. You can wave dash in, F tilt. At the ledge, it's a kind of lazy option, but it's pretty good if there's characters that have uppies that move quite fast that you don't think you're not comfortable timing the down tilt to hit them out of, such as maybe Mario, you don't think he's going to sweet spot, or Spacey Illusion. You could throw out the forward tilt and that will be sure to beat that. Alright, so let's move on to the next move, which will be his smash attacks. Alright, so Game & Watch has pretty meaty smash attacks. All of them will be kill moves at fairly early percents. His forward smash, again, acts kind of like his F tilt. It lasts for a while. The strong hit is only there while the hitboxes are at its largest, or the hit bubbles rather. Also a solid move at the ledge, but be wary that pretty much any character in the game can sweet spot through this. It does not cover nearly low as his forward tilt does, or even his down tilt, which is a much better option as long as you can time it. Forward smash at the ledge is a pretty lackluster option. Forward smash is pretty good because of the way that it hits hard, and it also comes out pretty fast. If you have not seen the Dakpo Brawl perfect pivot technique, you can hold in the A button and then you can be walking back, and then immediately you can forward smash while you're walking back. You can use this to feign giving up stage positioning, and then you can forward smash someone. You can also use it to run, crouch, and then you can F smash someone. You can bait them that way. Not a very good approach tool. I wouldn't recommend wave dashing and approaching. I wouldn't recommend using it in neutral at all, other than if you know for certain that your opponent is going to be coming into you. Maybe you expect a roll. Maybe you expect Sheik's going to roll behind you from this distance, so then you F smash. You can use it to cover roll on from stage. If you see that they're doing the roll on animation, you can hit it, you can charge it, etc. It is a pretty strong move. It sends fairly up. You can DI it into the corner fairly well. If you start to DI it too hard in, then it will kill some floaty characters off of the top, and it will kill a lot of characters very early on small stages. Alright, so moving on to his down smash. Down smash is an incredible move, not quite as fast as forward smash, but another good move to cover ledge options. If you see that they're doing roll on, get up, or get up attack, you can stand back and outspace it if you know the character well enough, and then you can down smash. The down smash, the hammer has two hitboxes. There's the hit that will send straight up. This will send characters directly up, and it has incredible amounts of stun. This can combo. Again, if you DI away from Game & Watch, then he can start to lose some of his follow-ups. And this can start to kill characters off the top fairly early, especially floaties. And then the inside hitbox has a sick, nasty sending angle that sends almost perfectly flat and can be an incredible gimping tool. That's why this move is so powerful at the ledge. If you see that they're doing normal get up or stage get up, even if they roll behind you and you charge it and then you hit them with the inside hitbox, then you can hurry up, grab ledge, and then you can get a pretty early gimp. Another thing that this is good for is covering techs on platforms. If you have a character on a platform and you down throw them, you can down throw down smash, and it will cover almost all of their options other than miss tech in some situations, or possibly tech in place shield if the Game & Watch is slow enough. Next is his up smash. Up smash is an incredible move. It will kill very early. It is one of the strongest up smashes in the game. If I remember correctly, it is either second or third or fourth range. It's similar strength to Lucas's up smash, a little bit stronger than Fox's, but not as strong as Pikachu's. It does some incredible damage at low percents. It can combo. I would not recommend using it as a combo tool, however, unless you can get it guaranteed. There are a number of ways you can get it guaranteed, but only if your opponent makes some mistakes and they don't tech accordingly, or they don't DI correctly. I will be going into those later once I get to his aerials. Up smash does some pretty hefty shield damage. If you see your opponent dash dancing, you can encroach on their space by running in, doing a Dacus. Dacus is interrupting Game & Watch's dash attack by inputting an up smash. You can do it by using the C stick for your smash attack and then pressing up on the Z button. That is new to the most recent version. You used to have to use the A button in order to execute the Dacus, but you can now do it by pressing A or C stick for the dash attack and then inputting up in Z. And the timing is a little finicky, but once you get the hang of it, it's not that hard. He has two distances. It has a 2-frame window for executing the Dacus. So if you see Game & Watch go really far, or not quite as far, then that's because of the variance between the two windows. Bacchus is not an incredibly safe approach, not at all. Up smash has quite a bit of startup to it, but if you see that your opponent is dash dancing, or you see that they do something that has high commitment and you think you can punish, you can slide in, and while you're sliding in, Game & Watch is already executing the up smash, making it easier to land and punish whatever they were doing. You can also get some things that combo into Dacus. You can get things like Pan Slam to Dacus, but again, it's extremely percent dependent and not always going to work. Alright, so the next portion of Game & Watch that I'll be going over is his aerials. His forward air is a move that many should recognize from Melee. It was one of his better moves. One of his only moves that he could L cancel. It hits fairly hard. It doesn't have incredible base knockback. It is not inherently safe on shield. It doesn't have very large amounts of shield stun. But at higher percent, it can start to be a kill move, as you can see here. It is not his strongest aerial. That would be Nair, which I'll be going over next. It will not be taking stocks incredibly early. As you can see, with no or partial DI, you can start to kill with it around 110, 120. Up until then, it'll kind of hit opponents off stage in an awkward edge guarding scenario at a strange angle. If you DI it, you can live much, much longer. Hits at a fairly high angle, as I mentioned. So with proper DI, you can live it for a while. It's not necessarily the best edge guarding move if you want to hit someone back off stage. It can hit someone pretty high up. It's kind of like Game & Watch's Sex Kick because of the way that it lingers. You can hit them with the weak hit at higher percents. You can start to use it to take stage positioning from an opponent, start to snuff it out. Even if you don't get the strong hit at higher percents, it will be safer. As I said, at low percents, the linger hit is very undesirable and never going to convert into anything. It does have limited uses where you can forward air someone at low percents and then you re-grab them. But that's very character, DI, and percent specific. Forward air is not the best neutral tool. You should use it as more of a defensive option, in my opinion. You should never really be going on the offense with his forward air. He has other aerials better suited to that, which I'll go into, and just better moves in general, like Bacon. But it does work as a defensive tool because of Bacon. You can use Bacon to force your opponent to come to you, and then just forward air to suffocate all the space underneath Bacon, leaving your opponent little room to run. You can use it on shield as a cross-up. You can run through them, and then hit them with forward air. Other than that, it doesn't have many incredible uses. From the ledge, you can forward air on stage. This loses to shield and then shield grab. It also loses to just crouch cancel into whatever option your opponent wants, but you can hit invincible from the ledge with relative ease. This is most Game & Watch's choice option from the ledge. It's not very good, but I see tons of Game & Watches do it. I do it myself, so I'm calling the kettle black here. Something that a lot of Game & Watches should start to stray away from. There's generally better options from the ledge that are much safer, and even if your opponent expects them, the punish isn't going to be nearly as bad as a grab or just raw kill move in general. That's basically it for forward air. Nothing else to say about it. It doesn't really combo on proper or no DI. Against fast fallers, if they DI in, you can sometimes get a forward air and then get another forward air, depending on if they go upwards or not. But again, that's percent, character, and DI specific, so I'm not going to go too much deeper into that. Alright, his next aerial, another one of his good moves from Melee. The hitbox on this thing is ginormous. It is gigantic. It's balls to the wall. It hits everywhere. It hits the entire platforms. It hits faces, through attacks. It hits everything. Takes the entire ledge up. It just hits everywhere. It's like a knee all over his body. It's like the parachute is struck by lightning and it's just a giant knee. The move hits pretty hard, much higher base knockback than what you saw with forward air. This move can start to take stocks pretty early. Again, it doesn't send at a very steep angle against fast fallers and sort of heavier characters. So Captain Falcon, I'm going to use as an example right now. If you nair him, if he DIs it up into the corner or just straight up into the air because of his weight and fall speed, you'll find it very hard to kill him with moves like that. You'll tend to stray for moves that just send him further down or just like go for better options at the ledge, like just down tilt grab ledge, things like that. It'll be hard to take stocks early with nair unless you're already at the ledge. At the ledge, this move is amazing. If you're on stage, of course, it might not kill extremely early, but at the ledge you can take stocks incredibly early just by nairing them, grabbing the ledge from them, and then that's basically it. You can convert into this off of a number of things. You can meteor into it at higher percents. At too high of a percent, then the down air will stop going into nair. I find that against a lot of characters, sometimes, mainly floaties, the down air will hit the opponent too high at kill percents in order to nair them. So it'll be hard against floaties to get that. Against fast fallers and average characters, you should be able to get down air into nair at kill percents no problem, especially on smaller and medium small stages. You can also up B into nair, which is the famous Game & Watch auto combo. You can down tilt to up B to nair. You can up tilt to nair at lower percents. And against most characters at low percents, you can up throw to nair. Usually pretty guaranteed. I don't really have hit stun laid out for every single matchup, but I'm pretty sure that at low percents you do get guaranteed up throw to nair. It's really not that broken. At kill percents it'll stop working. They'll usually be able to escape before it'll start to kill. But some characters with unfortunate combo weight, she has a pretty good follow-up weight for Game & Watch. As you can see, around 100%, it starts being harder to get nair. You have to double jump, and she can usually get out of hit stun, etc. And that's also with no DI on the up throw. Floaty characters, you're going to lose out on follow-ups such as up throw to nair at much earlier percents. They're going to drop off. Fast fallers, up throw to nair will be guaranteed at kill percents, almost certainly, as long as a platform is not in play. So as long as you read the DI, and then you fade and time it correctly, then you will get up throw to nair at kill percents against faster fallers. Nair, if you space it absolutely perfectly, so the frame before you hit the ground and you L cancel it, you can get nair to be safe on shield, but because of the startup of the move and the overall commitment and risk, it's generally not worth it. And even if you get it to be safe, aka plus on shield, it's going to be negligibly plus. It's going to be around the +1, +2, and then for every frame that you're off, you're losing it. And then if you're one frame off, then you're leaving yourself up to a grab tie, etc. Often if you do nair on shield, the pushback is going to be enough for your opponent to not necessarily be able to punish it. I would not recommend using it on shield, but it's definitely an option against shield-heavy opponents. You can use it to start to threaten their shield from breaking. You can use his other smash attacks as well to threaten their shield. Just start putting in damage on it. If you see that they're very scared of your attacks that you're putting out, then Game & Watch has a lot of ways to capitalize on it. with attacks that hit pretty hard on shield and do a lot of shield damage. You can even get breaks with things like up smash, down smash, etc., forward smash. Alright, so on to the next aerial. We have back air. Back air is, by and large, my favorite aerial as Game & Watch. It does absolutely everything. It's like the jack of all trades aerial. You can use it to zone. It's fairly safe. If you do it retreating, it's very hard to punish even by faster characters. If you use it as an approach, even then some characters can have a hard time dealing with it. This move is not safe on shield, even though it has a landing hitbox. At best, it is -5 on shield. Optimally, if your opponent responds, even if you up B perfectly after back airing, they will grab armor, the up B I believe, and then even then, that's leaving it in the hands of people executing things perfectly. The move just isn't good on shield. Your opponent can buffer rolls away. It's just generally not good. The only way Game Watch himself can escape being punished on shield, as long as he spaces it close enough to be shield grabbed or hit with an out of shield option, is to buffer roll out of it, which is in itself not overpowered. Tons of characters have moves that are -4, 5, 6 on shield, where they can do a move and then immediately spot dodge or roll out of it in order to escape an option out of shield. There's also shield DI counterplay. If you space it correctly on shield at a range where the opponent cannot shield grab it, but it is hitting their shield, they can shield DI into you as long as you don't fast fall it and get to you in time to shield grab you, which is something to be wary of. Also be wary of approaching it, or approaching your opponents with it, because if you do not get the cross up, then you should be getting shield grab for it. It is not safe on shield, as I mentioned. If you're not crossing up your opponent with it, then it is not safe on shield. As for combos, at low percents, depending on the DI, you can chain it together. There's usually options for your opponent to jump out of it. It's not by any means guaranteed. At higher percents, if your opponent DIs up and they do not DI away from you, you can start to get back air to nair. You can get back air to forward air like that. You can get back air to up air. Back air to up air is probably one of my favorite things to do it mid percents like that. But this is all pretty DI dependent. If they DI away, most of your follow-ups start to drop off. You're left with things like maybe dash attack, maybe tech, maybe you force knockdown on a platform, and then you can take advantage of it that way. Not at all does that make the move bad. It doesn't need to guaranteed combo in order to be good. The move just does so much. If you land every hit of it, it does ridiculous amounts of damage. And again, there's counterplay to the SDI of the move. The move is not incredibly easy to SDI, but if you can escape things like Ness's PK Fire with ease, then you can apply the same tactics in escaping SDI moves. You just apply that to Game Watch's back air. You can start to fall out of it. Players that I've seen utilize this, pretty much the only player that I've seen utilize this was Lunchables. Whenever him and Dak Poe were playing frequently, I saw a lot of counterplay from him. He also did a lot of counterplay to up air and up B, which let him escape a lot of combos that Dak Poe would have otherwise had guaranteed against a lot of other players, just because they would give up and accept the move. Just get hit by every single part of back air and then say that the move is too good and not even try to SDI out of it. Or even DI out of it. Even if you're lazy, just DI behind him, and there's not too much that he can get as a follow-up. Do not hold into him, don't hold up. Those are the worst ways that you can hold, because he has to go less distance to get to you if you just go above him, especially if you're a heavier character. You're not going to go very far. That's when the nair follow-ups and forward air follow-ups start coming into play. Overall, back air is I spoke of earlier that forward air is not a very good aggressive aerial. It's not something you want to be approaching with. It's something you want to be retreating with or using as a defensive reaction option. Even though it's not the fastest thing, back air is his forward air. mind you, is not the fastest thing. Back air is much faster, much safer, lasts longer. All of the hitboxes are convenient and good. There's no weak hitbox. Every hitbox does very similar things, if not the same thing. The landing hitbox is also the same as the other hitboxes. There are weird things where we found against, upon testing CC and ASDI down versus back air, the hitboxes do seem to have weirdly different angles. Some of them seem like they might break it earlier or later. It's a pretty weird move overall, but for all intensive purposes, all of the hitboxes of back air are very similar. The move being multi-hit is fairly good against CC. It's not something that you want to be holding down because you do not want to eat every hit of the move, because it'll start to rack up a lot of damage. And at mid-percents, it'll start to break CC. The move is just pretty good. His, by and large, best zoning tool, best retreating aerial, and best approaching aerial if you're going to approach. Alright, so his up air is going to be his next aerial. Up air is frame 3, very good move, has incredible IASA. You can short hop waveland out of it. Pretty sure you can even fast fall and still get the waveland out of it. The move is absolutely incredible. You can rise through platforms, waveland out of it. You can rise through platforms, waveland down. You don't need the L cancel, you can just waveland down to get to the ground faster. You can also use it as a positioning tool when you're using it as juggles to juggle faster, so you don't need to waste time moving, running, walking, or dashing. Very good move. His main aerial juggle move other than up B. All of his other aerials other than back air don't necessarily combo other than down air, meteor hitbox, landing hitbox. So you have back air, and then you have up air, and then you have up B as your main juggling tools. Up air also has a landing hitbox, just like back air has a landing hitbox. Down air also has a landing hitbox, which I will get to. The landing hitbox of up air has more base knockback than the first hitbox of up air. So at 0, the first hit will not send Sheik very far, but the second hit will send her slightly further. It does have knockback growth, and you can use it to combo into kill moves at higher percents. The landing hit doesn't necessarily have many other uses. I see a lot of people get it accidentally. It does have uses in some ways. You can kind of shield pressure with it. Again, it's not safe on shield, but you could come from the ledge, up air, get both hits. If they don't space the grab correctly, then the landing hit will hit them out of their attempted shield grab. You can rise through platforms, immediately do up air, and then get both hits. Does not an extreme amount of shield damage, but does a noticeable amount of shield damage, and it will keep your opponent in shield for some time, which could throw off their options out of shield. As I was saying, the landing hit will combo into kill moves at later percents, barring DI, and as long as you can get it. There's no real setup for the landing hit of up air. That's why it's not used or sought after very often. It's not incredibly strong, so you can crouch cancel it, and ASDI down for a while. It only does 6%. Pretty circumstantial. It's not something that you're going to be using often, but keep in mind that it is indeed there. Most of the time I find that you're going to want to be wave landing out of up air whenever the situation permits itself. Up throw, up air into other things is staple Game & Watch throw follow-ups. Up throw, up air into pretty much whatever you want to do. You can up throw, up air, up B. You can up throw, up air, down air. Up throw, up air, back air. You can just repeatedly up air juggle. A lot of people I see too often fishing for guaranteed combos with characters, not just Game & Watch, and they'll continue to push themselves. They'll continue to push the combo way past its prime. So they'll go for things that weren't guaranteed, especially in a juggle scenario. So they'll go for things like up airs, and then they'll like keep going, and then they'll like up B, and then just have no other follow-ups. Whenever a lot of times people underrate how good it is to just maintain positioning underneath your opponent. And as they keep trying to get down, just keep snuffing out their options. Just keep them above you. Bait out their options, force their options, and then once they have no double jumps, then you can capitalize, rack on a lot of damage by keeping them in a disadvantaged position above your character. I see a lot of people try to go 2 balls to the wall and commit far too hard to a combo or an option that's honestly more akin to a read than a follow-up, and then they end up putting themselves in a disadvantaged position above their opponent, especially with Game & Watch whenever up B is so easy to just throw out. At low percents, people just get antsy and just want to go for up B, even though it's not extremely good at low percents. Your opponent ends up below you, they can tech, and then they can take advantage of you being above them. Next and lastly is his down air. Down air is a landing hitbox. The landing hitbox on down air is really good. It will combo into all sorts of things. It is not a meteor. I've heard people call it a meteor, but it does have hit stun similar to a meteor. It has incredible amounts of hit stun. You can true combo into things like down smash, up smash, forward smash, pretty much anything. It has the hit stun that permits for whatever you want, and it has enough base knockback to use it to extend combos even at low percent. So it's not something that you need to use only at high percents in order to secure a kill. You can use it at low percents to extend the combo, and it's an incredible move that you want to, just an incredible hitbox that you should be seeking as a part of read, reaction, punish, tech chase. I'll see a lot of people go for grabs as a punish. Say someone whiffs a move or whiffs an attack. If you can get the landing hitbox of down air, people will just go for the grab. If you can get the landing hitbox of down air, then you can immediately just go into a grab, and then you're getting extra damage tacked onto the grab. There's no reason to really not go for it. It honestly does so much. The first frame of his down air is a meteor. No other frame of his down air is a meteor. Only the first frame. The lingering hit of his down air is a hit that sends at somewhere near the Sakurai angle. Sends a little bit higher than his forward air sends with a little bit less strength. You can, against some characters, like faster falls or heavier characters, again, if they DI into you at high enough percent, then you can get things where you start to get follow-ups off of more than just the meteor against them. But they're pretty situational. It's just a weird move to land on purpose. I can't really go over the uses of it because I don't use down air much myself, other than going for the meteor hit or the landing hitbox hit. Pretty much the only time that I land the lingering hit is either whenever an opponent's recovering on stage and I'm above them in a situation where I don't feel that I can get to the ledge to take it from them and then do an option, or I do not feel that I can get to the stage in order to use an option from there. So I'll be off stage and I'll be coming down, and then I'll just down air them. You can hit people into the stage, get stage spikes, but as I said, it sends pretty high up. It's not incredibly strong, so you're not necessarily going to be killing anyone with it. Around like 130, so if I hit her right here, then Sheik will probably die from it. Now, even then, hitting her across stage with certain DI, you're not going to be killing too many people with it. But it is good as a move to cover things at the ledge. It's also good at covering people below you. It's his main way to get down. So say you do up B against someone at low percents and they crouch cancel and then they're down on the ground. You can use, being that he can double jump out of up B, you can up B, double jump to bait an attack, and then immediately just use down air to punish, hit them away, and then get down to the ground safely. Down air is not incredibly safe. The landing hit also is around -5, -6 on shield. You can shield grab it, and that is the landing hit. That is that. You can also shield grab between the lingering hit and the landing hit, depending on how you land it. But in most scenarios, it's always safer to just wait for the landing hit to hit your shield and then shield grab, or attempt to shield grab Game & Watch. Down air is not, by any means, it is not an aggressive tool. It's not something that you should be jumping at your opponent. It is disjointed below him, but he sticks his hand a little bit down. You can hit through it with aerials like Mars up air, Lynx up air, Toon Lynx up air. I've even seen instances where Squirtle's up air, because Squirtle's tail is disjointed, has hit through it. And because of the way that he still sticks out on the side, you can still hit him on the side when he's coming down, as long as he's not square above you. This means that it is unsafe against characters that are fast enough to get to your side in order to take advantage of the weak points of that. You can also just wait out the move and then punish the end lag whenever he gets to the ground, but be wary that you can just air dodge out of the later parts of it once you get to the ground, and then it makes it hard to punish if he uses it correctly. It does last a while though, so the move is pretty high commitment. So he's stuck in it. There's no smoke and mirrors to get out of the move crazy early. Once you're in the move, you're in the move. Back to what I was saying. Using it offensively is pretty much a big no-no. You want to use it as a combo extender. Use it for reads. Use it for punishes. Use it as an edge guarding tool sometimes, even though it's pretty lackluster, not really going to kill. Against spacies, if they're up being on the stage, and you're in a weird position like I was talking about earlier, where you can't get to the stage or ledge in time. Forward or down air can hit them, because forward air necessarily might not hit them if they're coming from below you. Pretty lackluster off stage though, because it's never really going to gimp anyone. It's not going to do much if you do not get the meteor hitbox. That being said, the meteor hit is pretty strong. It hits down pretty hard. The landing hit almost forgot to mention, the landing hit against aerial opponents sends them at a Sakurai angle. It's hard to demonstrate by myself. There we go. It sends it at a Sakurai angle out. It doesn't do much damage. It does somewhere in the ballpark of 2 to 4 damage, and it doesn't really combo. Maybe you can get something at over 100, like at this percent, but if you get that against an aerial opponent, then the combo is pretty much going to end there, and there's not much that you can do about that. That basically covers all of his aerials. That wraps up pretty much everything that I wanted to cover about the aerials. Applications of the moves I went over as I was going over them. Another thing that I should mention is that the pan slam hitbox of Game & Watch's Chef, if you do it optimally, then it is indeed safe on shield. You can get guaranteed shield grab. Your opponent can buffer spot dodge or roll to escape it, but unless they have any faster option than somewhere around frame 4 invincibility, then there's nothing out of shield that's going to be escaping Game & Watch's pan slam into grab on shield, as long as it's done optimally. It is a pretty good shield pressure tool. Something that I like to do on shield, down tilt after the pan slam, or jab after it. It creates a pseudo frame trap, even though the only thing that's safe on shield is the Chef pan slam hitbox itself. If you do Chef jab down tilt, it's a weird mix-up of it's a weird variance of the pan slam has more shield stun than people think it does. The jab doesn't have that much, but it doesn't have very much shield stun, but you can act fairly fast after it, even though it's not safe on shield. And then the down tilt has decent shield stun, but it's also not safe on shield. So you catch them between moves that have a lot of a lot of shield stun and not a lot of shield stun, and then it gets into their head. You start messing with shield grab timings, and that's pretty much what Game Watch is all about. I think that a lot of people have a hard time shield grabbing a lot of his things, like aerials, because of things like landing hitboxes on back air, up air, or down air, and things like forward smash, down tilt, because they all have such varying degrees of shield stun. Not only do they have varying degrees of shield stun, but sometimes they just catch you whenever you try to shield grab. So the timing is not quite the same as it would be for other characters. Sometimes you get hit by the move's not over yet, and then you need to wait out for the landing hitbox. Sometimes you're in far more shield stun than you expect, and you think that Game & Watch can act, but he can't, because things like down smash don't have the best IASA, or forward smash if you get the earlier hitboxes of it. Or even down tilt. Down tilt is frame 6, which is pretty fast, but it's not a move that has the most IASA of all of his moves. It's not like something like forward tilt where you can move immediately after it. Even though it seems like he's putting it out pretty fast, it's somewhere in the ballpark of -11, -13 on shield. And if you're close enough to him, then you can indeed shield grab it. Wave dash out of shield, and then grabbing him is not something that you should be doing against down tilt. Pretty much aim for the shield DI in, and then shield grab for down tilt. Something that's -11, -12 is hard to wave dash out of shield grab, or punish, just because wave dash takes around 10 frames of commitment before you can act. So that's 10 frames, and then you only have 3 more frames to work with. So you could probably wave dash out of shield, jab it, if you have a good enough wave dash. Honestly, it doesn't have incredible pushback to that extent where most characters will get pushed back so they can't do anything, except against characters like Luigi, maybe the Game & Watch Ditto, he might slide back, maybe Lucas, Ice Climbers. Slippery characters will get pushed back pretty far.
Ready, go!
Alright, the next section that I'm going to be covering is Game & Watch's B moves. I'll be covering them in a particular order of most important to least important. Alright, so the most important B move is Game & Watch's Bacon. This is an incredible combo extender, juggling tool. Against characters like Sheik, you can up throw, up air, and then interrupt the up air ISA with Bacon. And then you can use that to keep opponents into the air and possibly extend into other things. Bacon is pretty good as a way to pressure your opponent. This is important because Game & Watch does not have incredibly safe approaches, but you can get your opponent to come to you if you pressure them hard enough with Bacon. You can angle Bacon one of 3 ways. You can angle it not at all, which it'll go sort of random trajectories. You can angle it up, where it'll go up above you, and it won't cover much space, but it'll cover a specific amount of space for a long amount of time. Or you can angle it down, which I think is the most desirable. Angling up is useful for opponents that are on platforms or above you. You can use it as a extension. Angling down is pretty good to cover space underneath platforms and hit opponents that are under platforms that normal Bacon would not hit. And neutral, not really important in my opinion. I think that most of the time you're going to find that you would rather have it angled down or up. Bacon does not have an incredible amount of stun, but you can get it to true combo into things at certain percents. It does have slight knockback growth, so at higher percents it will stun for longer. You can get things like Bacon into Dacus. You can get Bacon into Nair, Bacon into forward air, or what have you. Something that's important to note is that the pan slam hitbox of Frying Pan, of Chef, which is it comes out on frame 8 and only exists for a single frame, and it is the same exact frame that Bacon appears. If you land the frame after that hitbox comes out, then that will be safe on shield. It will actually be plus on shield. One of Game Watch's only useful things that is plus on shield because of the low amount of lag that it has. This means that you can get pan into grab on shield, and it will catch most out of shield options other than buffered spot dodge or roll. Something that I personally like to do is that I like to do frying pan into jab down tilt on shield. You can get mileage out of other things. Some people do frying pan double jab down tilt. At low percents, you can get the pan slam hitbox to combo into down tilt, which you can lead into other things. It is not incredibly strong, though it does have some knockback growth and sends at a semi-spike angle similar to a shine, similar to a fox shine. As you can see, it does have some knockback growth. At higher percents, it will start to send opponents pretty far. More useful against fast fallers and characters that do not have very good recovery options, kind of like Captain Falcon. But at higher percents, you can use it to seal a stock or intercept their recovery option off stage as long as it's not significantly disjointed. Because, as I said, the frying pan hitbox only exists for one frame, and it's not the easiest thing to land. You can only have 2 bacon out at the same time. As soon as they disappear, or around the time that they disappear, you can shoot out another. You can short hop double bacon as a way to control space. You can aim both of those down. You can aim both of them up. Or you cannot aim them at all. You can also aim them different directions. But it can be very hard to get the varying angles and timing the B move correctly without getting your other B moves or accidentally fast falling. Something to note, if anyone ever wanted to master the different angles of Game Watch's bacon. Something that I like to do is retreating bacon. It is very hard to punish. Something to note is that you are forfeiting stage positioning by doing retreating bacon, but they will not be punishing you for doing bacon unsafely because most characters do not have the run speed to punish you, and you're covering space with a hitbox and creating a projectile. They could also hit them if they come into you. You can do double retreating bacon. You can also B-reverse it. You can use the B-reverse as a pseudo aerial dash dance. Not something I'd recommend because being airborne against your opponent is not very good, especially as Game Watch in certain matchups like Marth. But regardless, you can use it as a quick burst movement option. You can also use it to escape juggles. Say you're coming down and you're going this way. You can use it to escape. Having tricky movement is important because Game Watch is very susceptible to juggles outside of his up B. So anything that can help you down against your opponent is useful. As I said, you can use it as a combo extender. Low percents, you can use it. You can use it to cover platforms, very good as platform coverage because of the upwards angle. Very good against characters that are floaty and large, such as DDD. They can have a hard time getting down to the ground, or Rob, without doing a higher committal move in order to beat through it. Something else to note is that if you soft land the move, it has no lag. If you normal fast fall or land, and then you'll have 4 frames of lag similar to a Falco laser, but you can also soft land it. Soft landing it means that you land without having that much momentum falling downward, so you land during the apex of your jump. Most platforms are the perfect height for Game Watch to soft land bacon. Something that's useful is dashing back, then B-reversing in order to soft land the bacon. You can have some pretty tricky platform movement by incorporating bacon. Also, you can only have, as I said earlier, you can only have 2 bacon out at once. If you have more bacon, then you start getting mini-meats. Mini-meats do a small amount of damage. They have a smaller hitbox. They do not induce flinching or any amount of stun versus grounded or aerial opponents. Something to note, though, is that they do induce shield stun similar to bacon, so I would not recommend shielding them. You shouldn't respect the mini-meats. Back to soft landing. Soft landing is important because it means that you have even more time to act if you land this on someone's shield or against an opponent. If someone is shielding on a platform, you can soft land into guaranteed grab. The extra frames you get make it so that way I'm not even sure you can buffer spot dodge or buffer roll out of this, but that is something that you should check on and not quote me for. You can do things like soft land bacon on a platform, and then you can fall through with a rising up air. You can soft land on a platform, fall and then down air, do a rising down air. There's a lot of things you can do. You can even soft land into wave drop bacon crazy stuff. Look for a potential future guide for that sometime soon. Basically covers everything that I wanted to address with bacon. You can use it while retreating. You can use it to be reversed. You can use 2 of them at the same time. You can angle it up or down. And you can use it as a shield pressuring tool. You can also use it as a semi-spike. Very important move that you should attempt to master if you are interested in picking up Game & Watch. Alright, so his other B moves are up B. Up B, as you know, or perhaps as you don't know, is an incredible combo move. Up throw, up B into aerial can work against most of the cast. It has different hitboxes depending on where you hit. The ground hitbox is the strongest, which will send opponents quite high. If you hit them with the higher hitboxes, then they won't go quite as high, but those are the most important for following up. At high percents, you can up B into nair. At low percents, there's not much you can get off of it, except for potential down airs. But down airing them into the stage means that your opponent has the chance and opportunity to tech roll, miss tech, and then get up attack you. Pretty much leaves things in their hands. I would not recommend doing a down air unless you do not think you have anything else. You can do up B follow-ups into footstool. You can kill with aerials faster than you normally would because you are higher to the top blast zone. I see Mr. LZ go for a lot of this. I haven't done it much since earlier versions where up air is stronger, but you can finish with up B, up air off the top against certain characters. The strong hitbox is usually desirable against heavier characters and fast fallers. At higher percents, whenever opponent is in the air, you do not want to hit them with the strong hitbox because sometimes that can put them too far, but you can still combo off of that. The only way to get truly guaranteed combos off of up B is to hit them with up B after you dash, and then you up B back into them. And then you can cover their DI / SDI with forward air, with a jump forward air or jump backward forward air. You can even cover it with a jump forward or jump backward nair, depending if the stun is there. Sometimes the stun is not there, so nair will take so long they'll be able to jump or air dodge out of the way. If you SDI behind Game & Watch, then you will usually escape most of the painful follow-ups. The only thing he'll be able to get is maybe back air. Going behind him usually forces him to end the combo or conversion there with something like a stray back air or a bacon. Yeah, hopeful bacon, mind you. That might not even hit. DIing the direction where he is going is usually not desirable, and not DIing at all is the least desirable, because that means that if you go slightly in front of him or behind him, then he can cover both of those options. You usually want to mix up your DI so that way you keep the Game Watch guessing. You're not allowing him to be flowchart auto combo on you, and you are attempting to SDI the up air strings and the up B strings in order to escape. If you do not DI at all, then you can eat a ton of damage from Game Watch juggling you. I've seen people eat several up airs in a row without moving. I've seen people get hit by up air into up B, and then their character didn't move at all. They didn't even DI, and then they complain about how there's auto combos whenever they weren't even holding a direction to try and escape said auto combos. Up B is also a pretty good option out of shield. Something else to note is that since the grounded version is one of the stronger hitboxes of it, that means that it will force you, if you are crouching and holding down, it will ASDI down and it can put you into knockdown. This is important because since it is stronger, it will put you into the ground if you ASDI down, and it will allow you to tech. This will end all of Game Watch's follow-ups, especially if he does it out of shield. It doesn't really matter how he does it. As long as you get in the knockdown and tech, he will not be able to cover your tech option before you tech. So he will be stuck in the air and you'll be able to recover before he can get to you and punish your said defensive tech option. It is not incredibly disjointed. If Sheik is forward tilting my shield appropriately, then there's nothing I can do about it if I do it out of shield. But it is fairly fast out of shield, being frame 3, which is faster than Fox's shine out of shield, because he has to enter jump squat. Being that his jump squat is frame 3, he won't be able to shine until he's off the ground, which is on frame 4. Game Watch is up B out of shield constantly being frame 3 and skipping jump squat entirely. As I said, it's not incredibly disjointed, so if you space your aerials safely on shield, then you should not be susceptible to it. But if you find that you're placing aerials inside of a shield, then be prepared to hold down, ASDI down, and tech the up B out of shield that he is likely to hit you with. More Game Watch B moves are his bucket. Bucket's not incredibly good. It's useful because of bucket breaking, but I'm not going to go too in depth into that because I do not have a partner to test that with. Basically, you bucket break by holding down whenever you eat a move that would send you approximately flat, or a move that would send you a little bit higher than the ground, around a 45 or 50 degree angle. You hold down, it'll allow you to ASDI into the ground, and you will slide off the stage. And then you'll be able to bucket to cancel your momentum. You can use it as a recovery move. You can use it to stall whenever you're coming down. Say you're off stage and you're recovering. You can use it to stall out, so that way you can sweet spot and then mix up your sweet spot timing, whether you immediately up B as soon as you get there, or whether you stall out with the bucket, double jump up B, is up to you. Bucket absorbs energy projectiles. They changed it from a previous version and reverted it to an even more previous version. Absorbing projectiles such as fox lasers is almost useless now. A full bucket will deal a little bit percent. It'll do roughly 4 to 6 if you get stale 1% fox lasers. Won't do very much, won't have significant knockback, won't be any stronger than F smash at 0, and it'll never really get beyond that. Even if you hit fox at over 100%, it's still not going to really be a kill move. You can use it as a disjointed move, as I said, but it has some pretty high commitment, and if you miss, then you will be punished. In matchups where you can get full buckets that will one-hit KO, it will be much more useful. Matchups where that is true for are Lucario because of Aura Sphere, Samus because of Charge Shot, Mewtwo because of Shadow Ball, Zelda because of Din's Fire, Mario because of Fireball, and Luigi because of Fireball. They also made it so that way Nessa's PK Fire counts as an 8% projectile instead of a 1% projectile, so bucketing that is also worth your time, worth trying to capture. You can also release bucket prematurely in this game, If you only have one level of bucket, you can press down B to have bucket out, and then press down B again, and he will empty the bucket prematurely, and it will be as strong as 1/3 of a bucket would have been. You also will keep your bucket charged through stocks, which is something that I hear a lot of people ask about. If you have a full bucket, you will keep a full bucket if you die. If you have 1/3 of a bucket, you will have 1/3 of a bucket if you die. And that basically wraps up what I have to say about bucket. Moving on to his last B move is hammer. Judgment has a few special properties to note. Whenever you use it, there is a dot that appears above it. There's either 1 dot or 2 dots. If it is 1 dot, that means that the next hammer will be odd. If it is a 2 dot, that means the next hammer will be even. So the next hammer will now be even. Something to note is that you cannot get the same hammer that you got within the last 2 tries. So I have gotten a 2 and a 1. That means that the next 2 hammers will not be a 2 or a 1. This can allow you to pseudo manipulate the RNG. At best, you can get a 33% chance of getting a 9 hammer by getting 2 odds, just as I just did, a 3 and a 5, and predicting the next one is going to be odd. This means that of the options that I have left, it has to be odd, but it cannot be a 3 or 5, and that means that it could potentially be a 9. This is not all powerful though, because just because you manipulate the RNG to be in your favor, it does not mean that it will always be a 9. I only had a 1 in 3 chance of it being a 9. It could have also been a 1, which only does 1% damage, or something else that dropped the combo. You can true combo into a 9 hammer. You can do tons of setups just as you would any other move. You can do up tilt in the 9 at certain percents. Of course, you can meteor in the 9. You can down tilt into 9 at low percents. You can up throw into 9. Again, I am not incredibly in favor of using Judgment because of the fact that it is random at its core, even if you can manipulate it to be slightly in your favor. I find that I would rather hit my opponent with a move that I know is going to work, and I know the outcome. It's not something where I'm leaving in RNG's hands. Alright, so there's some things to note with hammer. Some more things. 1 hammer doesn't really do anything. 2 will put you to sleep. If you're in the air, then it'll be a semi-spike. 4 is always a semi-spike with fixed knockback. The 5 hammer is something that I see a lot of people getting hit with. That hammer right there. And you can easily SDI out of it. You should never be hit by a follow-up. After the 5 hammer, you can SDI out of it just as you can Ness's PK Fire. You get hit by it, you have quite amount of time while you're still in it and you're still being stunned. You should always SDI out of it, away from him, and Game & Watch will never get a follow-up. I see too many Game & Watches landing it, and then people on commentary saying that it's too good because it combos, leads into another hammer, leads into Nair. Whenever you can easily SDI out of it as long as you're holding your controller and you're not asleep. Again, you can combo into hammer a host of ways. You can do tons of things. You can up B into it. Up throw. Alright, the last thing that I want to go over is Game & Watch's options from the ledge. Earlier I talked about turnaround pan slam hitbox from ledge whenever I was talking about Chef. Game & Watch has a few options from ledge, as I said, with forward air as well. Forward air is a very lackluster option from ledge. You can wave dash on the stage out of his tournament winner, as most characters can. It is not of the best ones. It's nowhere near as good as Bowser Hop is. It just doesn't have the stats for it. It seems pretty fast, but it takes quite a while for him to start moving upwards. One thing that's good about it is that he doesn't start moving until basically you can move. So your opponent doesn't actually know that you're committed to the move, even though you've committed to the move for several frames. So you can use it as a pretty good option on ledge, or off of the ledge. You can use, as you can see, you can cover this space right here with invincibility by the time you wave dash on. On stages where there's platforms up here like Battlefield, becomes a much more viable option. You can use it to get pretty far in. Another option out of Tournament Winner is that you can do Tournament Winner into up B, and then you can use it to get pretty far onto the stage. I think that in general, just Tournament Winner is probably safer than up B because of the way that you pause during up B, but up B does have a hitbox, and you can use up B to get yourself pretty deep in stage if you can get one of the steeper angles for it. What I believe is possibly his best option from the ledge is just up B from ledge. If you can get really steep angles, then you can fly pretty far in. You have a hitbox that's covering yourself, and then you can still double jump out of it. Even if your opponent expects it, it's pretty hard to punish because of how far you can get in with actionable invincibility. Well, you can't get actionable invincibility with this, but you can carry the up B pretty far invincible into the stage. Pretty much go through all options that they're doing at the ledge. Unless they read this, they know that you're going to do this, they wait in the stage, and then they punish you for being in the air. But even then, you can double jump over them, down air, and then you can bait that scenario. Pretty good way of getting into the stage. It also puts you in the air, which means that you're pretty far away from getting hit back off the stage. That's why, so Game & Watch's wave dash onto the stage, his wave dash is really good, but because of the way that he drops off of the ledge, he drops pretty far, and his double jump isn't incredibly fast, nor does it go high. It makes it feel pretty slow to do compared to characters like Sheik, Marth, Wolf, Fox, where you feel like you can get onto the stage incredibly fast. You feel like you can, I co-main Sheik, and whenever I use Sheik, sometimes I will wave dash onto the stage and then grab my opponent trying to hit me. But as Game & Watch, it's pretty hard to get actionable frames of intangibility off of the ledge from his wave dash. You can wave dash on. It's good because you can get so far if you get it optimally. You can get so far on that you can shield before your invincibility runs out. And this can be pretty safe. You can wave dash on, shield, then buffer or roll into the stage. As roll in the stage, not something that I would recommend, but it is indeed something that you can do. Like I said, I don't recommend wave dash on the stage, but it's probably something that you should have up your sleeve and have practice, just because, like I said, his wave dash on is pretty good and it's pretty fast if you just need to get onto the stage or you want to punish something deep in the stage. It's pretty good against things like, say Sheik's recovering, she up B's onto the stage and you need to get on the Punisher, then wave dash on is pretty good to punish that. His other options are just normal chef without the turnaround. You can get 2 out. You can fair from ledge and then regrab ledge. You can do all of his other aerials from ledge and regrab except for down air. Back air doesn't really have any use unless you're refreshing invincibility and then you just want to hit someone and then regrab ledge. Maybe it's a recovering spacing and you want to grab ledge so they don't grab it from you and they don't get back, so that way you force them to use another recovery move, and then you can down air them or what have you. Like I said, you can't do down air, and then if you do it optimally, you can even regrab after nair. Forward air from ledge, like I said, pretty risky, but you can get to be invincible. If you see your opponents charging an attack, you have no reason not to just forward air them in the face. If they get smart and they start shielding, then you're definitely going to start wanting to look into other options. You can get nair out. I believe if done optimally, the intangibility runs out the frame before the hitbox appears, but you can still eat something. while you have the intangibility. Again, not something that I'd recommend doing onto stage from the ledge, but it is something you could do nonetheless. Another punish if they do something laggy, say you're planking, and then they do something punishable, you can down air onto stage, get the landing hitbox, convert into up smash, grab, or what have you. Wave dash on jab, wave dash on down tilt are also other options. Alright, so I'm going to start wrapping up the video now. The last part got cut a little bit short, but I believe that I've went over everything that I wanted to cover. I would like to go over some other things, but I don't know if there's a way currently where I can present those in a way that's not dragging out and long-winded and boring. Probably like the rest of this video was. I just wanted to make this for the game that I enjoy playing, and I hope that someone somewhere can take something from this. If not, then I enjoyed making it. I've always wanted to be a content creator for Project M. I just don't have the computer, the video editing tools for it, which is why this video is going to come across as fairly crude. My recording setup is also a little bit crude, but I hope that the mic quality and everything is up to par. If people would like more videos like this, then I would be much obliged to take part in those. We have other Game Watches that have other things in the works. I'd like to make some shout outs to Shockbound, the homie, the one that's going to be providing some master race Game & Watch compendium for all knowledge that is dank. We've all been working on stuff. We've all been providing a lot of input in the Skype group. Shout out to the Game & Watch Skype group, pretty much the place where we actively discuss all Game & Watch currently. Smashboard's thread has got a little slow. Pretty much everyone's over there. If anyone wants into the Skype group, hit me up. Shout outs to all the other Game & Watches. Mario Bro over in Australia. Zeddy. Triple P Pikmon. Calpico, even though he doesn't play anymore, but he's out there and he's still a homie. Just all the other Game & Watch mains out there that have been sticking through with this character. Mr. LZ, of course, you know that he is the best placing Game & Watch at the moment, but he's only 14. The game's so easy. 14-year-old can win. Dakpo, wherever you are. And